here is we're calling it the class of 2020, all right? And what I mean by that is, with the PBIS course that we had before, number one, thank you all for your patience as we went through all the drama with, oh, my staff member can't go to module 2 and all these little things. We were building the plane as we were flying it. For those who actually got to go through, we've gotten a lot of really, really good feedback. And so I'm really excited to know that folks have really been engaging with it and having fun. What we realized was, and this is going to help, I think, in terms, as Sargina was talking about, how do we get a system in place so that we can train staff? When the program was first rolled out, we kind of gave you guys the option where you can get the modules 1 a week and you can do whatever we want. But what we realized is that in after school, sometimes you have to have a fast turnaround, all right? And so what we're doing is we're really testing the model now where it's going to be a 4.5-week course. And what that means is staff members will have 4.5 weeks. They're going to start at the same time and they're going to end at the same time. And that's going to make everyone's life a lot easier, because part of the challenge was, now I got to figure out when these people are going to be meeting, and it became this thing, all right? And so to eliminate that, we're going to try it where we're going to have almost like a college, course that starts at this time, and it runs for a certain period of time. For this, because we're just doing this for the class of 2020, which will be the first class to go through it, and because of the time frame that we have from now until the end of the year, it will only be 4.5 weeks, all right? So I wanted to walk you guys through the schedule and what it's going to look like, all right? So when we look here, you'll see where it says week 1, 27th of April, which is Friday. This will be the start of the week, all right? And in that first week, the only thing that will happen is your teams are going to have a team webinar, all right? So if you remember in the course, you had modules that were designed just for teams, and those modules are designed to be done at a team meeting. And those modules are so that you can do some of the things that we're talking about now. What is our vision for this? What are we going to be doing? What are our strengths in this type of work, all right? So in that very first week, the very first module is going to kind of set you up, and that's what we see here. So you'll do that. The teams will have everyone's going to send me their scheduled time for when they would like their team to meet. I'm going to be on the first call for all of you who opt to do it. If you send me your schedules in advance, so let me know. And so this will be by Houston, GCAC, Patterson, Union. You just let me know when you want to have your meeting with your team in advance. Let's work out the schedule, and then I will be on that first call because I'm going to facilitate it to show you how to facilitate it yourself. The last 3 calls, which are team calls, you'll be doing with your team on your own, all right? So the first one, I'm going to do it with everybody so they can see how easy it is. I'm going to facilitate it for you. I'll even start to let some folks facilitate part of it themselves so they'll see how easy it is. Because what that will be, this should become a common form of practice for you, all right? I think that the consistency will come in making this a normal part of your yearly routine. We're going to start off every year talking about our team vision. We're going to start off every year defining the strengths. And then we're going to relook at our matrix. And then we're going to relook at our token economy as a team. And then we're going to come up with desired outcomes and goals for our program, all right? If you schedule those 4 trainings for your staff, all right, that's going to help you to build that consistency that we were talking about. And then next year, you can roll this out and you can do this as a 6-week course or an 8-week course or a 4-week course again, right? Or you can then do the course when you have a new staff member who just showed up, who didn't go through the PBIS training. Your staff is already into it. You enroll them in for the 4-week course so that in 4 weeks, they can catch up with everyone else. So having the course, that'll be the purpose of it. But for right now, for the rest of this year, we're going to model it where we're going to start it at the same time and we're going to end it at the same time, all right? So when you see here, you have the second week, the courses that you see here in yellow, those are the individual modules. So the ones on the right side that are blue and green, those are the team modules, okay? The yellow ones, everyone will do on their own. They do it on their own time. So in the first week, which will start on May 4th, which is that Monday, right? The full week, your staff have 4 modules to do within that week, whenever they want to do them. If they want to do them at home at midnight, if they want to do them whenever, that's fine. But they do those 4 modules, and they also have a matrix meeting that week as well, where you're going to clear your matrix and clean your matrix, all right? And make sure that the matrix is still working for you. Do you need to change your matrix? Do you need to fix it? Then the next week, the team meeting will be, what does our token economy look like? How are we going to build the token economy? How do we all get on the same page? All right. And then in that week, the staff members have 4 individual modules that they will do that week as well, all right? And so now you get an idea of how it works. So this is the schedule. Questions. Let's just stop for a second and answer questions. And Danielle, can you look in the chat and let me know what we got if we have any questions? Because I see a couple of things. None? Any other questions right now from anybody else? Does it look good? Does this look like it'll work for you guys? Let me see some thumbs up or something. All right, cool. All right, awesome. All right, so moving on. So the next thing. So how do we get started with this? Step 1, you're gonna fill in your staff names and get them to me by this Thursday, the 23rd, all right? Many of you should have received, I already saw some folks, thanks for those, Tina, I believe you already got me yours, thank you so much. Some of you will see the Excel document that's I sent to you guys already. You're gonna fill that in and you're gonna break down and let me know if a staff member is a admin or if they're normal staff. If the staff member is an admin, which means that they're a site coordinator or administrator, they will receive the team modules unlocked so that they can use the team modules for the team meetings, all right? Everyone else will have all the other modules, but the team modules will not be unlocked for them, all right? The site coordinators will be the ones who will manage and the administrators, all right? Also, if you have an admin account, you will be able to look at the scores and reports for your staff so you can see how they're doing with the course, all right? That's the job of the admin. All your job is to look at the reports and say, hey, I see that you guys haven't finished module 3. Make sure you get on it. I noticed you haven't finished module 4. Please have it done by the end of next week because you got 4 more coming and you need to make sure that you're finishing the modules as you go along. Yes, ma'am. Danielle?
I have to remember to unmute myself.
Yep.
So Sargina in the chat box just mentioned keeping in mind what the end of the school year is. So we're looking at this as a way to support your staff this year, but also planning for next year. Because for San Union, their last day is May 22nd.
Okay.
Chelsea is asking, where can we find this document?
Oh, I'll send this back out to Danielle. She can send this all to you guys. All right, good question. Now, if your team is going to end on, if your staff is done on May the 22nd or something like that, just ask them to finish before that. I mean, it's really 4.5 weeks that they have, so just ask them to move the modules up a little bit so that they can be done. All right, but again, you guys will have this again next year. So if they don't finish 1 or 2, we'll start all over again next year with new staff, and they'll be able to get that content then. Yes, ma'am.
So we do have a question from Alicia that says, how does it work if we already went through the other modules available on the system?
Very good. Yep. So if you've already, now this is the thing, there's some folks who've already gone through, but the majority haven't. Like I'd say 80% of the folks haven't gone through it. Now, if you were one of those superstars who went through it, obviously you don't have to go through it on your own, but I would suggest that you go to the team meetings with your staff because you'll have double the knowledge and you can just go through on your own. Now, for those who've gone through it before, you still need to go in because on some of the modules, they have more information now and there's a lot more stuff that's been added to it that I'm going to show you, all right? So my suggestion would be go through it again because you know how to skip through the parts that you don't know and then do the new parts so that you'll be caught up with everyone else. I think everyone should just do it over again. If you've gone through a module and you say, I've already done that, feel free to skip through it if you know the content. But when you see the new parts, there are new assignments that are going to be graded. I would suggest doing all the quizzes again because that's where the scores come in. And now just so you'll know, we moved it from the old LMS to the new one so that we would have much more flexibility so that we could get everybody on it and also so that we could really track the scores and the quizzes and all that stuff, which I'm going to show you in a second. So my suggestion, again, if you've already done it, yes, that's great. You still haven't done the last 4, 17 through 20, and you still have an opportunity to do all of the new handouts, worksheets, and stuff that are built in. So I suggest going through it again and just skipping through the parts that you already know. But I think it's important for everyone to start at the same place and do it so that everyone's at the same page. So when you show up for your team meetings, which I think everyone should schedule 4 team meetings, right? Where your teams can get together and do these other pieces. By the end of this process, if you do it and you have the meetings, you should walk out with a pretty decent artifact because there's a lot of handouts and worksheets that I'm going to show you. Build a binder, put them together, and at the end of this process, you should have a binder of this is how we can roll out PBIS starting for the new year. Yes, Danielle.
And just to confirm that this is good for your PBIS team, but also for your staff as well? It was more of a question. That's a question mark.
Yes.
So I had a question in regards to who this email that was sent out to. So the initial email for this call was sent to all the project directors. And then I asked them to then send it out to their team and decide who they wanted to participate on the call. Many of you, I think, sent it to your site coordinators and or your PBIS teams who attended the trainings. And yet, this particular learning management system can be used with staff as well, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so this is the thing to think also going into next year, all right? Next year you'll roll out and you'll say, okay, we went through the course, we've all done this. Now next year starts. You're gonna have a whole brand new group of new staff members who are starting. And I think you need to let them go through the course again. Once you figure out next year at the beginning of the year, do you want to do it the 8-week as a start? Do you want to start right August 1st and let them do this for the first 4 weeks? Or do you want to stretch it out for 8 weeks? We have different calendars that you can use, but we're not focused on that right now, but for next year. And then I would suggest that every team member, though, every year does the team modules, because that's something that you should be redoing every year so you can have the conversation. And the team modules walk you through that consistency. All right, we're starting a new year. What's our vision for this year? What are our strengths? Let's look at our assets. Now, let's look at our matrix. Let's clean it. Now, let's look at our token economy for the new year. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Good. Now we got the outcomes. What are our goals? We talked about data, right? You guys are now what we call our highly functioning PBIS teams, because you've been doing this now, right? So we can start to look at data. So what are our outcomes? What are we looking to do? What are our goals? That's what those team modules are for. So every year, your staff should be going through those team modules again, and your new staff will go through the entire course. Does that make sense, everybody, now? So that's how it would work. And if you have a new staff member who shows up in November, right, because half your other staff realize, I can't deal with kids, I'm out, right? So now you have brand new staff enrolled in November, you can start them on the 4-week course, right? And in 4 weeks, they'll be caught up with everyone else, and then you build them in that way. All right, does everyone see how this works? Any questions on that? Does that make sense? I see a lot of chat stuff, but I can't read it. Danielle, what's going on?
All right, so some of it is people popping off the call, which is not a problem. Again, we're recording it, so you can always come back and listen to whatever section you want to listen to. We have a question that says, could we do modules every 4 months, like a refresher course?
Oh yeah, absolutely. When you have access to the modules, you have you will have the license for a year. That was a really good question. So you'll have access to the modules for a year. So what you just do is, once you have access to it, when you have a new staff member comes in, you can say, Fred, I want them to get it every 4 months, and we can build out that customized schedule for you where they can get it like that. But for right now, we're probably going to be running it with like a course, because it just helps to have everyone start at the same time and end at the same time. But we can adjust it and customize it for your needs if you want to stress it out even more. Yes, and you can do this you can do it every semester if you want, because you'll have the license for the year. Does that answer the question? I hope so. Good? Any more, Danielle, before I move on?
Awesome. She says, awesome, thanks.
Okay, cool. All right, so first step is you fill in your staff names, get that to me by the 23rd. The second step, select the 4 dates for your virtual team meetings. Submit those by Thursday, 4/23. I want you to, if you do that, that's all the work you have to do. Get with your team and say, okay, when are we going to have our virtual team meeting? All right. If you let me know in advance, I may even pop in on some of the others, but I'm not going to facilitate the others, just to provide feedback, because we're really trying to see how this is going to work. I'm going to do the first one for you to show you how it's done and allow you to see how it can work. But then for the last 3, those will be the ones that your team will do on their own, all right? So, but I would love to get those dates down so I can put them on my calendar, because I know Danielle and I would both like to pop into some of those virtual meetings and to provide support, all right? So step 2, select the 4 dates for your virtual team meetings, submit those to me. Just know that because I'm doing this for all of you guys, if someone else selects the date and says, oh, can you do it on this date, and someone else does it at that same time, whoever does it first, that I can commit, I'll let them know, and I will let you know, can you pick another date? So what would be really helpful for the very first one is send me multiple options, all right, for the very first one, so I'll have some flexibility. Does everyone understand what I'm saying? With the very first date that I'll do for you, send me some options for dates for your team so that if one doesn't work, we can do another one, all right? So that's step 2. Questions on step 2? Good, all right. Step 3, yes, Sargina.
Okay, so I put it in the chat, but just for clarification, are those meetings with your site team, with your frontline staff, or are they with your district team or your entire, every site as a whole?
We're doing with, I think the meetings will be for your entire system. So in other words, Stanislaus Union should do a big one. And what we will do is we'll have breakouts in that meeting where each person will be working with their individual teams. So we'll come together as a group, we'll do it together as a group, and then when you do the breakouts in the part, you'll be broken out to your school site. So therefore your conversations will be with your school site. And by the way, that means that for each one of those meetings, I'm going to need someone from that group to help me to break out the breakout groups, because that's going to be the hardest part, is putting people with their school. So I will need somebody to help me do that while I'm facilitating, but that's the way it's going to work. Really good question, Sargina. So in other words, this should be for your entire Stanislaus Union team, for your entire Patterson team who are going to be doing PBIS by school, right? Frontline and site coordinators. And then when in that meeting, they're going to have times where they're going to be working with their sites. So when we talk about developing these plans, they're going to be developing with their sites. Does that help, Sargina?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Cool, awesome. Any other questions? That was a good one. All right, very good. So step 3, you're going to schedule your Zoom meeting and send them to staff so they are on their calendar, all right? Once you get all your dates, you lock it down with your staff, then send it to them, create the Zoom link, send them the link. That's going to be your responsibility, is just to send it out to your team and say, okay, this is when our scheduled Zoom links are. Here's your information, and then send the information to myself and Danielle so we can pop on those Zoom calls as well if we're available, all right? But that's your gig. So again, step 1, fill out the Excel sheet. Step 2, pick your 4 dates. And step 3, create the Zoom event calendar, all right? So that's kind of all you need to do to get started with this. I'm going to walk you through what the process is going to look like for your students. Can you still see, can you see the After School Guru website? Okay, cool. This is the new website. It looks different for some of you. Oh, it looks different now. It literally, we just redid the whole website to make it a lot easier. One of the things that you'll see is it's got a few more functionalities. First off, it has, when you want to go to your course, you can either enter the courses here or you can just sign in. Your staff members will get a sign in. They would come here, hit sign in, put in their whatever, they would log in. All right, and then once they're in, they can access the course by going here to courses, or they can go up here where it says services and go to the courses, all right? So they can access here, click here, and when it pulls up, they will see a list of all the courses that they have offered that they can take now, all right? So when they see it, they'll see the course, they'll say PBIS Start Course, they'll click on the button, and when the course opens up, it has all of the details there, it has the different courses, it has the team modules are at the very top first, all right? One thing you'll notice here, and this is why I said for those who say, oh, we've done it before, there's a couple of different things. There's a pre-course survey now that we have built into the course, all right? So one of the very first things that your teams are gonna do is they're gonna come in and they're gonna answer, you hit start course, you go in. One of the very first things that they would do is they come in, the team modules are gonna be at the very top. All right, so if you have a staff member who is not an admin, they'll see the team modules, but it will be blocked out where they can't utilize it, all right? Only admins and site coordinators will be able to access those, because those are for the meetings, all right? Then the pre-course survey, they click here, and there's a pre-course survey that they would take that's really gonna walk them through all these different questions about PBIS, so that at the beginning, we can gather data on what folks are feeling about the process, and we will have data at the very end about how folks have grown in the PBIS. So we'll be collecting data through that, all right? Then once we get into the modules, it's pretty simple. They'll just go through the modules will show up for them. They go in here, they click, they start the module, they would go through it on their own individual time. It's very simple. Everything is built into all of the individual modules to work for the staff members. It has On the side, you have the menu.
Module 1, the what and the why.
All right.
Today's module is the first of many that comprise the course, with each module lasting about 5 to 15 minutes. We try to keep the info tight and straight to the point so you'll get just what you need to be.
All right, so you have the courses. They'll have them all built out here where they can go through. They have quizzes that are built in, all right? And each course has a take action piece, all right? And what that looks like is, this is something that a lot of you who went through in the first iteration did not have. When they're finished with the module, there's going to be a document that they can download, all right? And when they open up that document, it's going to be something that says finding your why. So now they have interactive activities that they do also. This allows you to track the learning of your staff. This is the stuff that you want to put into that binder. These are the artifacts that you'll be creating. Every module has some kind of workout sheet or handout where they're going to be talking about things like finding your why. Why are you doing this? Why is this important? What were the qualities of teachers' character that, that positive things, all of these different things that are going to be built and designed to reinforce the learning within the individual module. And each one of the modules has that. So it has a take action and it has a quiz. So what that means is when they're finished with the quiz, they then are going to do handouts. They're going to take them, they can do them digitally, and when they're finished, they can upload the handouts back into the course. So it's all going to be in the course. So at the end of this whole process, they should be able to print this stuff out and literally have a binder that has all of their information that they wrote. All of the documents that you worked on as a team will be uploaded back into it, and you'll be able to print out an artifact that will really kind of walk you through PBIS, all right? So that's kind of how the course works. Another thing that's kind of cool, you can use it or not, is that they'll all belong to group, right? So there'll be a group that'll be created for your organization, like the Stanislaw Union group, the Patterson group. And when you have that group, what you're able to do is you can go into your group and you can actually have dialogues within your group. So if your group is working on this collaboratively as a team, you would have your own kind of, each person is going to have their own, it's almost like Facebook, basically, where they're going to have their own profiles, and then they'll be able to have conversations within their group about the module. They can talk about, oh, do you like it? Is it working? Am I having problems? Does anyone know how, I'm really confused about Module 5. Can anyone help me figure this out? So you can have conversations with your group, and as a group leader, you can leave information to your staff saying, hey, I noticed that you guys haven't finished Modules 3 and 4. Make sure you get on that because it's time almost for the next week, all right? So it'll be very interactive. You can send photos to your groups. You can put tips and strategies. And this, again, will be a repository of all of this information and good strategies and stuff. You can put it in your group so that your teams can use this year after year and come back to this, all right? So, again, I'm gonna stop sharing this now. A lot of work went into making this. I think this is going to be easier for you guys. I think it's going to be a lot more user-friendly, but more so than that, we're really going to be able to track data. And again, if your staff goes through it and does everything, all the stuff that we just talked about, creating artifacts, having a system, the program does it for you, okay? So that's the new look for After School Guru. Questions? I see some thumbs up. I'm gonna put it on the thing so I can see everybody. How you feel? Yeah? Yeah? All right, so now questions, any kind of feedback or something, this is the time. And now let me tell you guys too, I really appreciate your patience. We've literally been building this thing as we've been doing it, but your team has been so awesome of just going in and trying it, and I love to get the feedback. I've gotten so much good feedback from the folks who it's working, and so I look forward to giving more feedback. If something's not working, just say, Fred, it's not working, or this is not a good strategy. If you notice, we changed it because we keep on changing it based on stuff that you're telling us is working or is not. All right, so that's all I have. Questions, comments, concerns?
I have a question. So
Yep.
our first meeting, that's as a whole as a district, correct?
Yeah.
The first meeting. And
Yep.
then the other 3, we can do it just as a site.
Exactly. Good question, Costa. The other 3 will be just at your site, because what we're going to start to do, and that's the way we'll mirror it for the next year as well, right? The first meeting wouldn't be a big district one next year. It'll be just you. I just want you to see how easy it is to facilitate the meetings, because really, I'm going to use the modules to facilitate the meeting. It's really going to show you, you just play the module and the module just plays for itself and you do it together as a team virtually. So it's not a lot of work for you, but I'm going to do the first one so you can get the feeling of it. But then after that, it's exactly that, Costa. They're going to do it individually with your site. You don't have to do it with everyone else. Really good question. Really good question. Oh, you know what? And now that I think about that, Costa, that's going to make really good question. So this is the deal. You don't have to send me all 4 dates because the dates are going to change based upon the sites. The sites might be different for that second meeting and third, fourth. Just send me the date for the very first meeting. All right, that's the only one I really need. Good. I'm glad you said that because then I'll get 8,000 dates for all these different meetings. Just send me the date for the first meeting, and then the rest are on your own. You guys can schedule it on your own. Okay. Cool. Any other questions? That was a good one. Yes, ma'am. Kimberly.
I just wanted to comment that we appreciate the work that you guys have been doing to get this, for us. The right before spring break, we were trying to find the right time for like my site to get together, especially because it was only some of them were allowed to log in, and the other ones would have to do their trainings during program. So I really like that now we don't have to worry about they have to use my login or anything. They can just do it from home. So thank you.
And anyone has access to it now. So you can have your whole staff do this. It's totally up to you. Just fill out that Excel document, send it to me. And just like I said, even if they've gone through it again, as you see, we've added in some features. Your staff members who've gone through it, and that's why a couple of folks even now are sending me stuff like, I'm still trying to go through the old one. I'm like, just stop, because much better to get into the new one. Because also, I think incentivize this, man. You'll be able to keep some scores now, so maybe come up with some kind of contest in your group with the points or something at the end. And this way, everyone can participate in the contest. So that's why I said, I think everyone should just do it all over again, because there's new handouts and worksheets, and you'll be able to track those, and you'll be able to support your team by knowing what they turned in, all right? So that's it. Thank you so much for you guys for your flexibility. I love working with Region 6 because you guys are the bomb. And you'll go with anything. I just come up with stuff and you're like, we'll try it, and I love it. So Danielle, is there anything else from you? Anything else that you want to do to wrap this up? Because we're 3 minutes into wrapping this thing up.
All right, so thank you. As far